Today we got the 65 Lincoln back in the booth. We are going to spray L-411 back over this. So we primed this car a few weeks ago. We blocked it out with 150. We've got some burn throughs and some fixings here and there. So we're going to prime the whole car again. At this point, I'm really happy with how straight it is. When we wetted it down, everything looks really nice. So I'm excited to see it all shiny blue again. So we're going to put L-411 back over this. When I primed this last time with L-411, I did not reduce it. That was first prime over filler. I was looking for lots of build. This time I'm not looking for quite so much build. I've got a few spots where we did some body work, but it's much more refined at this point. So this time I'm going to do 3 coats, and I'm going to reduce this 10%. Get it to lay out a little better, because this is going to be final prime on the exterior. When we go to block this, I don't want a lot of peel. I don't want anything like that. We're going to start with 240 when we start blocking this primer again. All right, so we're mixing some L-411 here. I'm going to mix half gallons at a time. So my gravimetric formula is going to be 2624.1 on part A and 441.5 on part B. Gravimetrically on the scale. That is the best way to do it. It is a 4-to-1 mix, and gravimetrically these two products weigh differently per volume. That's what this formula is for, to give you a perfect 4-to-1 mix gravimetrically on the scale. So zero my scale. I'm going to start with 2624.1. So I'm going to reduce this 10% just to get it to lay out a little better. It's going to come out a little faster, lay out a little smoother. So I'm going to use the Alpha slow urethane reducer, which in an epoxy is fine. Every epoxy I ever use, if I use a reducer, it's always a urethane reducer. That urethane reducer will be far long evaporated before any real curing starts happening with this epoxy, especially this epoxy being so slow. Really doesn't matter what reducer you put in it, it'll work fine for you. So since we've been using the Alpha line of things, we are switching over. We're going to use the Alpha slow urethane reducer. I'm going to do 10%. So I've got 26 ounces in each one of these cups. I'm going to add 2.6 ounces, 10% by volume. So that'll give me about 28.5 ounces sprayable in each cup. Another thing, 20-minute induction time required. This primer needs to sit in the cup for at least 20 minutes once it's mixed. Because it's so slow, it requires an induction period. So after we prime this car again today, it's going to go back over to the fab side of things. We're going to get the airbags all mocked up, change whatever we got to change, get this thing down in the weeds. And then we got some power window conversions to do, electric wiper conversions. We're doing a hydraulic electric setup for the top. We got to get all that stuff mocked up and in there. So once this car is primed, it's going to look real nice. We're going to call that a good stopping point for body work. We're going to do all the rest of the fabrication and changing of things. We're going to fit all the trim, fit the bumpers, do all that kind of stuff. And then once this goes back into the bodywork stage, we're going to block this out, and then it's going to go back on the rotisserie, come all back apart, get ready to be black. So being that this car is going to sit around for a while in primer, I want it to look good. So if it comes out clean, great. So I'm going to actually even tack this whole thing before I prime it today. Usually I don't tack before I prime. Today I'm going to. So there we go, we've got one coat down, L-411 reduced 10%. So now I'm gonna give this about 40 minutes flash. It's about 75 degrees in here. Give this about 40 minutes. I'm gonna come in, put my next coat on. I'm gonna do 3 coats. After the second coat, I'll probably give it about 45 to 50 minute flash time before the third. So there we have it. This is 3 coats of L-411, laid out real nice. For a high build, I did get its layout pretty flat. I mean, it's not flat like clear, but it's, for a high build epoxy, it's pretty flat. I sprayed this today. I sprayed this out of a Sada 100B with a 1.6. Because I reduced it, I usually spray it with a 1.7 unreduced. Today I decided to go with a 1.6, atomize it a little bit better, and see if it worked pretty nice. So, pretty happy with that. With L-411, not only is it a high build epoxy, it is a true epoxy. It's not a hybrid. It is a very slow primer designed for restoration. This, you won't even be able to touch this car for about 8 to 12 hours, and then 48-hour cure time on this epoxy. So not to be sanded or top coated for 48 hours. But because it is so slow, after 48 hours it is done shrinking. All the solvent in the primer has left while it's actually drying. It doesn't skin over like a lot of primers will dry fairly quickly, and they will skin and they'll trap solvent below that. Because this is so slow, it allows all the solvent to actually dry by the time the product is cured. So 48 hours, I can sand this. I know I'm not going to have any more shrinkage. I can put filler over it, I can sand it, I can paint it, whatever you want to do. 48 hours.